What's going on, high speeds? Hey, I'm really glad that you clicked on this video because I'm about to show you some really useful tips on how to put together your Army MOLLE 2 issued rucksack so that it can fit you in the best way possible and so that you can get the most you possibly can out of it, and so that when you go out there and do your ruck marches, however long they might be, they can be as comfortable as humanly possible for you. All right, so I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm actually getting ready to do a ruck march myself as part of my training program, and for a little while now I've been wanting to take apart my ruck and kind of adjust it and put it back together in a different way because it just hasn't really been sitting right on my shoulders. I've been managing it, but I know I could do better and make it fit even better and be even more comfortable, so I'm going to go ahead and take the time to do that now. And I'm also going to give you some good tips and TTPs that I've learned throughout the years that should help you out with your rucksack assembly. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, but before I forget, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. We talk about all sorts of things that have to do with the military on this channel. We also get into military fitness. We talk about Army career enhancement, military schools, all sorts of tips and tricks. So don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take apart my rucksack. Before I do that though, or as I'm going, I'm going to show you some of the issues that I've identified with this rucksack setup already. For full disclosure, I actually just got this from CIF, didn't disassemble it at all because I was just being lazy and just threw stuff in it and been rucking with it ever since for about a year now, and I haven't really touched it since I got it from CIF, which is the wrong answer. So there's going to be some issues with this ruck that I have already known about. I've just kind of been putting up with it, okay? All right, so first things first, where the bag is located on the ruck isn't in a bad place, but it's not secured the way it should be. Okay, there should be some straps here where these little clips are that strap down to the ruck to keep it closer to your back. There shouldn't be this large open space here like there is. But what they did get right is that these top straps here that strap down to the frame should be as high as possible on the frame. Okay, you're going to want your bag to be as high up on the frame as possible as you're putting together your ruck. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take off this and I'm going to readjust that and fix it. Another thing that I'm noticing is where my shoulder straps are. All right, so a lot of people like to put their shoulder straps as high up on the ruck as possible as well, and I can see that that's what this person went with. They wanted their shoulder straps as high up on the ruck as possible, but that's not how we're going to do it. I'm going to show you a better way to do it. Also, these back straps for where you tie down the shoulder straps shouldn't be just loose like this up on the top of the frame here. See that, how they quote unquote secured that? That's just the wrong answer. That should be more like down here. So we're going to fix that. We're going to take the shoulder straps off and I'm going to put them lower on the rucksack. That way when it sits on my shoulders, the actual bag itself, since it's high on the frame, will actually be higher up on my shoulders, and the weight will be higher up on my back, more like located up here rather than dragging off my shoulders and giving you that dragging feeling on your back. So those are the two things that I'm going to hit up on this rucksack to make sure it's more comfortable for myself. But I'll go over everything throughout the ruck and show you some more tips and tricks so that you can be the most possible setup for success in regard to your own personal setting for your rucksack. Really, the only thing you're going to need for disassembly and assembly for your ruck is going to be like a good set of pliers or a Leatherman or something like that. But you just need some sort of needle nose plier device so that you can work these straps a lot easier. Okay, it's a little tougher to do with your fingers. So disassembling and assembling your ruck is, you know, it can be kind of a pain in the ass. Like I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I was pretty lazy. I've been lazy for about a whole year now, not wanting to have to disassemble this whole thing and then put it back together in the way I want it. But if you really are serious about being a better ruck marcher, or like you're trying to get ready for a selection or ranger, or you're just trying to get better at your 12 miler or even past the 12 miler, like it's going to help you with performance. It's going to help you being more comfortable on your ruck march, and it's just going to make you a better ruck marcher as a whole. So take the time to get it right, experiment a little bit and get it right. Okay, so I've got my ruck all disassembled. I've got my shoulder straps, my bag, and then the frame and the waistband here. I didn't disassemble those because I've already got it where I want it for me personally. A good rule of thumb for your waist pad or your waistband or whatever you want to call this is if you're more of like a taller person, maybe like 5'10" or higher, you want to set this at the lowest setting possible on the frame. So that's kind of how I have it now. It's as low as it's possibly gonna go without dragging off the frame. And that's really just so that it sits on your torso right. If you're a little taller, then you're gonna have a longer torso. And since I'm already telling you guys that we should be putting the shoulder straps a little lower on the ruck, then you need all the room you can possibly get on the bottom for your waistband. Some people like to flip this upside down because it just sits better on their back, but this is the way it should naturally go, because you can see that it will sit on your lower back, covering your tailbone, and then this portion kind of comes up a little bit and sits around your waist in the proper fashion that it should. If you were to flip this, it might sit a little lower on your waist, and you might not like that. But some people just have weird shaped bodies, man, and try it out. You might like it. So, but this is how I'm gonna go with it, the way it's supposed to go at the lowest setting possible. When you're setting this up on the back, it can kind of be a pain in the ass getting it in there, but don't try to get it so tight. Like, don't worry about it being so tight. You should be able to fit your hand back here like this, not a problem. It's good to be a little loose, because when you're rucking or run rucking or whatever, you want a little bit of flexibility down there so that it can bounce back and forth across your back. You don't want it to be super stiff, because that's going to cause a lot more chafing in the long run. So it's okay to have a little bit of looseness here. It's not a big issue. So that's the first thing you're going to want to have set up on your frame, is your waist pad. Next, we're going to move on to the shoulder straps. It'll be the next thing that you attach onto here. Okay, so again, the way I'm going to want to set these up is so that it sets the weight of my frame plus my bag higher up on my shoulders, rather than being at this angle, where if you were to put these shoulder straps all the way up on the frame, it would be like this. If you take them down, it'll bring the weight up onto the higher portion of your back and make an overall easier ruck for you, because you're putting the weight where it should be on your back. All right, so we're gonna find a spot where we can put these shoulder straps lower down on the frame so that the weight sits higher on our back. So first, just to make it easier on you, just fold the shoulders how they're gonna actually sit on your shoulders. So I'm doing it like this. The words for the NSN number should be upside down, and it's gonna go across onto the frame like this. You wanna do the back Velcro straps first. And I'm thinking I wanna put it like probably right here. Will be good for me. And you can see you put these tension clips, you put the strap through both tension clips and just back around onto itself. Pull it as hard as you can, Velcro it on, and these tension clips hold tension on themselves. All right, so it's that easy. This isn't anything fancy. You just put it right back through each other and strap it down, keep it nice and tight, and that's all it takes, man. Make sure all your straps don't have any twists in it so that you have all the length you need and it doesn't lose its adjustment later. I would say the majority of you guys and gals out there are gonna want your shoulder straps set up in this way, okay? Unless you're like really on the shorter side, this is probably gonna be the most comfortable for you. All right, for this strap here, you definitely wanna have this strap down, but you really just wanna get it strapped down nice and tight to just help this not move, the shoulder strap pad, and just to get it all out of the way, because the last thing you wanna do is have this rubbing on the mid side of your back. So just tighten it down as much as possible, and if you need to, if this starts rubbing on your back, you can just take some 100-mile-an-hour tape and wrap it a few times, and that will create enough padding where it doesn't like dig into your back, this little clip here, okay? All right, so I've got all this tied down now. It's nice and tight, it's out of the way, it's nice and flat. The clip's on the back side of the frame, and I don't even have to worry about the strap or anything being taped down, because the bag's gonna go on this side, so this can be all as messy as I really want. It's not gonna matter too much because the bag's gonna go over here and cover it all up anyway, okay? But it's nice and tight. All right, so now I wanna put my load lifter straps up on the shoulders, and this is another part that you will want to play with as you go. These are easily adjustable on the fly. Like, you can take them out and adjust them as the whole rucksack is assembled, so it's not a big deal. But I'm gonna put them in a place that I know works for me, and you can either take it or leave it. For me, I like to put them right here in the corners, and you just stick it through and let it sit flush on itself, and that's all. That's how it holds in place. That's it, okay? So it should be kind of loose like this. It should look a little floppy and sloppy. You know, it's normal to be that way. This is kind of like where I like to have mine, but you know, we'll see how it goes. Sometimes I'll switch it to this slot, and even sometimes I'll switch it to an outside slot. It just depends on the type of load you're carrying and how you're feeling that day. But you can adjust these, you know, on the fly, no big deal. But this is how I'm gonna start it out. This is a good place to use some pliers too if you need to. Just pull it right through. See that? Boom. There you go. When I throw this on my back, I'll tighten down the load lifter straps, and then it should sit just fine on my back. The last thing I'm going to want to do is the shoulder tightening straps. So I already know where I'm going to want these to be for me personally, but these are another part of the rucksack that you can adjust on the fly. You don't have to take everything apart. You can just do it real quick as the rest of your ruck is put together. But this is like a pretty crucial part of being comfortable for your ruck. So you want to try to get this right. Experiment with the location of where you want these tied down at until you get it just right for yourself. Or for me, I know I like it to be right along where you have this filled in area here on the frame. It's the 4th slot up is where I always put mine. All you do is stick it through, loop it through itself. And that's it. It's tied down. Quick disconnect back in, and it's good to go. So you can see how easy that would be to just test out if I wanted to change the location of it a little bit, if I want to try a different spot to get it just right as I'm tightening down, then you can easily do that. Now I just got to put on the actual bag. So make sure your bag is unpacked, all right? That's pretty important. Just make sure it's unpacked so it's nice and loose, and so you can put it on the way it should go on. And again, you want this to go up as high on the frame as possible, okay? So I'm going to take these adjustment straps and I'm going to stick them through the highest opening here on the frame. And you want to keep it to the outside to spread the load out and keep the bag nice and tight. And you want to get all the slack out as possible. And this is something that you're probably going to have to keep an eye on, like as you do your rucks, and just tighten back up as it gets loose. But as long as you get it good the first time, it should stay pretty tight. Another quick tip for keeping your lockdowns as tight as possible and for as long as possible is once you have that bite going through the lockdown, all right, and it's as tight as you can possibly get it, you can put it back through itself on the far side. So go over the plastic here, but back through the plastic on the far side, and that'll keep it even more secure. And that's how it will look. See that? And that's not going to go anywhere for a long time. So it's important, like these are pretty long. I think some rucks aren't as long as this as far as these straps go, and they might end up being in the way, hit you in the face. So you might at least want to tuck those away while you're rucking. But I'd caution you a little bit about taping up every single strap, only because these straps are something that you might want to have access to like as you're rucking, and you don't want to have to cut away the tape if you need to make adjustments and retighten it, right? So just leave it loose if you can, and just find a place to tuck in that extra strap so you can just easily get to it if you need to and retighten it down and not have to cut away all the tape. Now for the rest of these securing straps, just keep them as tight as possible as you make your way down and securing them. And that'll help your ruck stay as close to the frame as possible as you're rucking. So we're going to keep them as tight as we can as we make our way down securing these. And you want them to be equal on both sides. So however many down it is from the top on each securement strap, from the other side, it should be the same on the other side, mirrored. All right, and you can see what I did here, how it worked out for me, and this is good for reference, is I got it on the very top. The strap down I have on the very top opening on the frame, and then it goes down about 5, then it goes down another 4, and then it goes down another 5, and the last strap that I have here at the bottom is the second opening from the bottom of the frame, and it fits right in between my waist straps, and it doesn't get in the way of my tightened down straps for my shoulder straps. Okay, so it all fits together just right. And that's all you really need to do for the bag. And you can see already I have much less room in the back because it's much tighter. You can see that the bag's going to sit a lot higher on my shoulders once I'm wearing it. It's going to sit more like this on my shoulders, and all that weight's going to be distributed much higher up on my back, so it's not dragging on my shoulders. It doesn't feel like I'm pulling something the whole time I'm doing a ruck march. Big difference. Last thing you want to do, I did not get those straps from CIF, unfortunately, so I can't show you, but I do want to tell you about these little rings here. You'll sometimes get those little loose straps that just come with the ruck, and you're like, what are those for? Well, that's supposed to go right here, and you just take it, put it through here, and then put it through one of these loops just to tighten it down even more to the frame. But you know, I don't have it, so not a big deal. I still got my carrying handle out, really easy, so I can grab it and all that. All right, last couple things before I let you guys go. Your sustainment pouches should be as high up on the ruck as possible, okay? All the way into the side and as high up as possible on the highest straps. Don't be having them come down here, because that's just going to be weight that's going to end up dragging on you on your back, and you're going to definitely feel that. You want it all the way as high up as possible and as close to the back as possible, so all the way on the side. Don't put them over here either. All right, if you have more than these 2 sustainment pouches and you want to, you know, deck your ruck out with more pouches, that's fine, but definitely start from the outside and make your way in on the back of the ruck, okay? These need to be on the outside first. If you need to utilize more space, it's fine. Keep everything on the outside as high up as possible. Another good TTP for these newer MOLLE 2 rucks that I think most of you guys are gonna have is these tightening straps that come around the sides. Keep them loose at all times. There's no reason to tighten these up. Your ruck should always be big enough where it's going to use, you know, the majority of space. So just keep these loose. Go ahead and tape down the excess strap so that they stay loose, and just keep them out of the way. You don't need that shit. All right, well, that's it. My rucksack is now set up. It's set up to the way that I know I'm going to like it. This is set up to the way that I usually rock it. This is how I had it set up for Ranger School, for Best Ranger, all my main heavy rucks. All the time I do my rucks, this is how I have it set up. So over the years, I've been able to figure out what works for me. The key is to keep trying different things until you get it right for yourself. Don't be afraid to take it back apart, try to figure it out, and definitely dial that shit down before you do anything really difficult like Ranger, Selection, Best Ranger, anything like that. Make sure you have your rucksack figured out before you show up, okay? You don't want to have to be trying to figure this out on the fly. As a quick note, I would say the way I have my rucksack set up here and what I just showed you guys in the video is probably going to be the best solution for most of you. So go ahead and try it like that. If there's anybody out there that has their own TTPs and their own tricks that help with ruck setup, please don't hesitate to go ahead and drop that in the comments for everybody. It's much appreciated. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Besides that, it's time to pack this thing up and go on my own ruck march. I don't have anything else for you. I'll see you on the next one.